It was supposed to be just another routine security check at the airport, but what unfolded left everyone stunned. A young black woman, full of confidence and grace, stepped through the TSA line, unaware that her day was about to take a shocking turn. The TSA agent inspecting her grew unreasonably harsh, questioning her unnecessarily, and finally taking it too far, ripping her dress in front of everyone. Instead of an apology, the agent laughed, adding insult to injury as the humiliation sank in. But this wasn't the end of her story. As the woman tried to collect herself, an imposing figure entered the scene, her husband. What no one realized was that he wasn't just a supportive partner. He was a billionaire with power and influence. The room went silent, and the air grew tense as he locked eyes with the agent. What happened next? Stay tuned to find out. The billionaire husband, a man known for his calm demeanor but fierce sense of justice, walked toward his wife with a look that silenced the commotion around them. People in the terminal, some already whispering about the incident, now turned their full attention to the couple. The woman, still holding together the torn pieces of her dress, tried to assure him she was fine, but the pain in her eyes said otherwise. The TSA agent, who had been smug just moments before, now looked uneasy. Clearly, this wasn't just any ordinary traveler. What was meant to be an easy target had turned into something much bigger. Passengers whispered among themselves, trying to piece together who this man was and what he might do. As he placed a reassuring hand on his wife's shoulder, his expression shifted. There was no shouting, no rush reaction, only a quiet, powerful resolve. The billionaire husband's calm exterior hid a storm brewing beneath the surface. He turned to the TSA agent, his voice steady but laced with authority. "What happened here?" he'd asked, though his tone made it clear he already knew. The agent stammered, attempting to explain away the incident as a misunderstanding, but the excuses only made the crowd murmur louder. Meanwhile, the woman stood quietly, holding her head high despite the embarrassment she'd endured. She wasn't just a victim in this moment. Her presence demanded respect, even if the agent hadn't seen it. Passengers began to chime in, recounting what they had witnessed. A mother with her child pointed out the unnecessary roughness of the search. A businessman added how he'd seen the agent laugh at her expense. The tension rose with every word, and the agent's defensiveness grew. Yet, the husband wasn't focused on arguing. He was planning his next move. The air in the terminal was heavy, thick with anticipation as the billionaire husband stepped closer to the TSA agent. His calm presence was unnerving, and the once confident agent now seemed to shrink under his gaze. The woman's husband didn't raise his voice or make a scene. He didn't have to. Every word he spoke carried weight, and every silence between them only heightened the tension. As he asked for a supervisor, people around them grew more involved. Some passengers pulled out their phones, recording the unfolding drama. Others whispered, speculating who this man might be and how far he'd go to make things right. The agent tried to downplay the situation, brushing it off as an overreaction, but it was clear that no one believed him anymore. The supervisor arrived, looking uneasy as they took in the scene. The husband calmly explained what had happened, but his tone suggested this was far from over. As the supervisor tried to mediate the situation, something unexpected happened. A second TSA agent stepped forward. This agent had been watching from a distance, their face a mix of hesitation and guilt. Clearing their throat, they addressed the supervisor directly. "I need to speak up about what I saw." The crowd hushed, and even the billionaire husband paused, his sharp eyes narrowing on the new player in this unraveling drama. The second agent revealed that this wasn't the first time the offending TSA agent had acted unprofessionally. They admitted to having witnessed similar behavior in the past but had been too afraid to report it. The supervisor's expression darkened, clearly realizing this incident was bigger than they'd anticipated. Meanwhile, the billionaire husband listened intently, his expression unreadable. He thanked the second agent for their honesty, but his calm tone held an edge that hinted he was far from finished. The room was electric as the second agent's confession hung in the air. The supervisor, clearly shaken, turned to the billionaire husband. "Sir, we'll address this immediately," they said, trying to defuse the situation. But the husband wasn't done. "I appreciate your words, but accountability requires action," he replied, his voice calm but commanding. With a nod, he gestured toward the small crowd that had gathered, many of whom had witnessed the humiliation firsthand. These people saw everything. They deserve to know what steps will be taken to ensure this doesn't happen again, not just to my wife, but to anyone. Then, in a move no one expected, the husband introduced himself fully. He was not only a billionaire, but also the owner of a major media company. He promised to use his platform to shine a light on systemic issues like this. The TSA supervisor paled, realizing the weight of his words. As the supervisor tried to explain, the husband raised a hand to silence them. "This isn't about revenge," he said, turning to his wife. "It's about making sure dignity and respect are not optional." The agent who had caused the ordeal was escorted away, but just as the crowd thought it was over, the woman, still composed despite everything, spoke up. "This isn't just about me," she said, her voice steady. "I hope this becomes a lesson, not just for individuals but for the system." Her strength and grace left everyone stunned, proving she was as powerful as the man by her side. Together, they walked away, leaving the airport in a silence filled with reflection. As the couple exited the terminal, the atmosphere began to shift. The passengers who had watched the scene unfold seemed inspired, some even applauding quietly. The woman smiled softly, her composure unwavering, while her husband held her hand firmly, a silent promise of support and strength. Later that evening, news of the incident spread rapidly. Videos from the terminal had already gone viral, sparking a larger conversation about accountability and respect in spaces like airports. The billionaire husband kept his promise, using his platform to amplify voices calling for fairness and dignity. For the couple, this moment became a reminder of their shared mission, to stand up for what's right, no matter the challenge. And for everyone watching, it was a story of resilience and the power of unity. As they drove away from the airport, their bond seemed stronger than ever, proving that respect and courage always make the strongest impact.